So how do you fire someone without it going bad?
Get your knife and fork ready to dig into a plate full of profits on the DFY Restaurant Revolution podcast with your host, recovering restaurant owner, Michael Thibault.
Hey, thanks for tuning in for this week's edition of the Restaurant Revolution podcast. My name is Michael Thibault, and if you've never listened to me before, I'm an old school restaurant owner, and I've been helping restaurant owners get more new customers and get their existing customers to come back and run better restaurants since 2008 when I sold all my restaurants. So thank you for tuning in today. Hope you get something out of this, and I'm going to start off with a funny story. My daughter, who works for a major workout company, and she's the head coach / manager at one of the locations. So she's 25 and she's never had to fire anyone before. So she called me up last week and she's like, "Dad, I'm so nervous. I got to fire my first employee. You know, it was a coach. They had problems with her or something. I don't know. The members were complaining." Nevertheless, she's like, "How do I do it? How do I do it?" And, you know, owning 6 restaurants and having a super large catering company and having 300 employees at one time. Obviously, I've got some experience with canning people, right? And you know as well as I know, I mean, one of the hardest things about owning a restaurant is the staff and the turnover, right? And, you know, it's just inevitable. You're going to have to can people. You're going to have to fire them, especially that first year when you open your restaurant, which you're going to turn your staff over completely, probably about 3 times. So how do you do that? I learned really quick after opening up, 6 of my own independent restaurants, in different areas and different concepts. And what I figured out was, you want to get to the point where the employee actually fires themselves. So what do I mean by that? Because it makes it a heck of a lot easier when they realize, yeah, it's going to be time for me to go, as opposed to firing them right on the spot. Now, don't get me wrong. There's going to be violations. They're going to break the rules. They're going to do stupid shit. I mean, that's just what employees do, right? Especially in the restaurant industry. We've all had to fire people because of that, and that's kind of on the spot thing. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like repetitively showing up late for their shift. Getting complaints from customers about their service, whatever it is. Coming up short in the till at the bar. There's all different types of reasons, not following the rules, not portioning correctly for the back of the house. Maybe it's always complaining. These are things that, have developed over time. And it could be an employee, that's been there for a short period of time or an employee that's been there for a long period of time. You need to treat them all the same. That's the main thing, right? Once you do for one, you got to do it for all. Okay, and you want to protect yourself. So how do you get to the point where the employee actually fires themselves? That's pretty cool, right? So what you want to do is make sure, and it's super simple, just have a 3-strike system. But it's got to be written down. That's the key. You got to bring them in to the office, either you or your manager, or whoever is dealing with it, the head server, your kitchen manager, head bartender, whoever's doing the employee evals. Don't wait for their, quarterly, 6-month, or yearly evaluation, which you need to be doing those too. But bring them in right that day. You got to bring it in that day of the infraction. If they showed up late, like I said, if you had a complaint from one of the customers that was warranted, whatever the case, bring them in. Have a sheet, okay? A formal sheet that one of your manager, whoever's running the meeting, fills out, and have the employee sign it so they know. Okay, and you write in what the infraction is or whatever they did wrong. All right, and then you tell them, you say, how can I help you improve upon this behavior? What can I do to help make sure that you get here on time? Okay, within reason, obviously. I'm not going to, say that you got to go pick them up, although we did that for some of our staff. But, what is it, an app on your phone? Is it you're not getting enough sleep at night? You can't handle working nights. You got to go back on days. Whatever the situation is. I'm just using it as an example. But you need to offer to help to rectify the situation, okay? Because that does a lot of really good things for that employee and for the other staff members, okay? So you write it down. All right, you have them sign it, you bring them into the office for a private meeting, and then you offer to help them rectify whatever the infraction is that they committed. All right, now you do that 2 times. On the 3rd time, when you write them up, and they know this, right? Because you tell them that in the first meeting, listen, you got, our 3-strike policy, right? 3rd time this happens, you're out. Okay, so they know that. All right, and you're very upfront about it. You're very professional. You don't get personal. You criticize the behavior. You do not criticize the personality or the individual. That is key. But you're very upfront. They know. You keep it professional, okay? And they sign it. They acknowledge it. You understand, I want to help you fix this. How can we work together to overcome, this problem that you're having? Okay, because if it continues to happen, what's going to happen is I'm going to bring you in, we're going to write you up a 2nd time, and then on the 3rd time, you're going to be terminated. Okay, by the 3rd time they come into the office, they already know. They fire themselves, okay? I had most of them didn't even come into the office. They go, I know I screwed up my 3rd time, 3 strikes. Is there any way I can? No, I can't. It's not fair to everyone else. Okay, so you've got to maintain that consistency. All right, and it will help. Your employees will actually, the bad ones, weed them out. Again, these are not on-the-spot infractions that, theft, getting into a fight with an employee, sexual harassment, any of that, and that's all outlined in your employee handbook. And that's another thing that you can fall back on. You need all these different tools, especially in today's day and age, that you can fall back on. An employee handbook is mandatory because if it's not in writing, you have no proof, right? When they go to the unemployment agency and you got to go to court. I did that a couple of times. It's not fun. So make sure you have everything written down. Use the 3-strike rule and have an employee handbook that you fall back on that you can point to, because that way your employees will fire themselves, the bad ones at least. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you got a lot out of this. And if you want more content like this and ways to improve your restaurant, get new customers, get your existing customers to come back, make your life easier as a restaurant owner, sign up at DFY Marketing Systems. You can see in the top right-hand corner, there's a membership. It's free. You're going to get all kinds of great resources and information. Just sign up. It's free. You can go to our website, and I will see you on the next podcast.
Thanks for listening to the DFY Restaurant Revolution podcast. Join us in the revolution by subscribing, rating, and reviewing on your favorite podcasting platform today.